Will the Canon RF Super Telephoto 200 to 800 mm f6.3 to 9.0 image stabilized lens be an L series? Will it be weather sealed? Will it have a USM motor? Stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, subscribe to this channel for a chance to win a Canon EOS R5. I'll be giving one away to one lucky subscriber once this channel reaches 100,000 subscribers. Anyone above the age of 18 with a valid mailing address is eligible. Additional terms and conditions are linked in the description down below. So that begs the question, will the Canon Super Telephoto RF 200 to 800 mm f6.3 to 9.0 image stabilized lens actually be an L series lens? Will it be weather sealed? And is it going to have a USM motor? And I do actually have the answers to those questions, but before I get to them, let's do a brief summary of all the specifications for this lens, and I think you're going to start to see that things start to line up nicely and make a whole lot more sense. There has been a few contradictions out on the internet regarding this lens, but everything seems to be converging from multiple sources. First of all, the zoom range of this lens is confirmed to be 200 to 800 mm and not 300 to 800 mm as some have, well, posited. And in terms of the aperture range, it is confirmed at being f6.3 to 9.0, and it is an image stabilized lens. We don't know at this point if it's going to be STM or USM, but we should know about that pretty soon. In terms of the size of the lens, it is going to use diffractive optics. I can never say that. I want to say deferred optics for some reason, but it's going to be diffractive optics. And if we take a look at the Canon RF 100 to 500 mm, an L series lens, what does this have? Has an internal zoom. Sorry, external zoom. Why do I keep saying that? I keep reversing these. So like the 100 to 500 mm, it is going to have an external zoom. One of the reasons I brought this prop out here is because I wanted to make sure I said external zoom, and sure enough, I went ahead and said internal. So to confirm, and as I have here on the side third here, it is going to be an external zoom. So the reason for diffractive optics is to create a more compact and lightweight lens, and I'm definitely in favor of that. While this lens certainly feels, the 100 to 500 millimeters certainly feels a little bit cheaper than some existing EF lenses, when you're holding that lens handheld with the image stabilization, it's a truly incredible experience. And what happens with these materials, they're not designed to be cheap, but they are designed to provide impact resistance and other things. It's kind of like back in the 70s, the cars were made of steel, and if they hit a wall, they didn't compress, they didn't fold up, they basically got a few scratches and that was it. And then by the time we got into the late 80s, people were complaining about these cars. They're folding up, they're getting totaled. And that's true, but you weren't getting totaled, you weren't folding up, the cars were absorbing the energy. And that's part of the thing, is you don't necessarily want a full metal lens, you do want some materials in there that can absorb the compact or the stress from any impact. So what about pricing? Well, according to Sony Alpha Rumors has been doing a really terrific job in breaking the news of this lens. Normally we get that from the Camera Insider or Canon Rumors, but big thanks to Andrea Pizzini from Sony Alpha Rumors, as well as his own channel by the same name. Based on European retailers, it is going to cost 2,500 euros. We don't have a confirmed US price, but based on the exchange rate, and it's not just the exchange rate, because I know you're already factoring the exchange rate, when we're looking at European prices versus US pricing, there's also taxes and tariffs and other things such as the cost of living. So usually at around 2,500 euros, we can expect to see a price range of somewhere between $19.99 and $22.99. But I'm getting a sense that this lens will cost something around $20.99 to $21.99. And there is one other thing, that this is creating a lot of confusion. If this is not an L series lens, and I'll get to that in a moment, why is this lens being painted white? According to Canon Rumors, they've received multiple different sources telling them that the lens is going to get the big white paint treatment. And many other sources as well are saying the same thing. I have sources that have told me that it's definitely going to be a big white, or at least it's going to get that white paint treatment. And I want to focus on what that really means. Now, whenever we see a white lens, we automatically assume it's an L series and it's a high-end lens, and for the most part, that's true. There are a couple of exceptions which my viewers have pointed out to me. First off, the Canon EF 40mm f2.8. You can see it's a pancake lens, but it's also Well, it's a white painted lens. It doesn't mean it's a high-end, it's weather sealed or anything like that. The reason why it's painted white, it was a special edition to go with that Kiss camera, the white painted. It's kind of like a Rebel series in Japan. That's why that one is painted white. And then of course there's the 400mm f4 image stabilized USM. It's a DO lens as well. It sells for around $6,500 and it's not L series either. But in that case, it's hard to argue that it's not a high-end lens. I think it's safe to say that when it comes to white painted lenses, with the exception of the EF variant, they're always going to be high-grade, high-end lenses. And so that's why when we hear about this being a white painted lens, we think, well, surely it must be an L series, right? But no, that's just an assumption. The reason why, according to Canon Global, that they paint lenses white is that when you're out shooting in the sun, because with an f6.3 to 9.0, that's where you're going to be shooting. The sun comes down on it, heats it up, and that causes heat inside, which can change the optics and the quality of your photos. And not only that, if you've ever held onto something black that's been sitting in the sun for a long period of time or sat in a black leather car seats, it can be painful to the touch. So those are the reasons that Canon Global states for painting their lens white. All right, so let's cut right to the chase. The Canon RF Super Telephoto 200 to 800mm f6.3 to 9.0 image stabilized lens is not going to be an L series lens. It's not going to be an L series lens, but we kind of already suspected that, didn't we? $2,000 for a super telephoto like this to be L series did seem like a stretch. There was only that one other example with that 400mm prime f4 DO lens for around $6,800. And if it's not going to be an L series lens, that means it's not going to be weather sealed, right? Well, that's the assumption we're making. I can think of only one other lens that wasn't L series that was weather sealed. And again, it's that $6,800 400mm prime. Yeah. So it's not looking very good for being weather sealed, but the door's still left open. I'm going to leave the door open until we get confirmation on that. And in terms of having a USM motor, I think that's most likely, but when we got the announcement of the Canon RF 10 to 20mm f4 image stabilized STM lens, an L series lens, I was not expecting that. Pretty much every single L series lens that came out would have a USM motor, and this one has an STM motor. So as Canon is kind of shaking things up a little bit, I would expect a USM motor, but I've got my sources out there. I'm trying to find out information. I'm trying to validate whether it's going to have a USM motor, whether it's going to have dual USM motors, whether it's going to have an STM motor. And the one other thing I'm trying to get is actual photos, images of this lens. I actually had a dream last night. I woke up not too long ago and I was at a conference and a guy sitting beside me had a camera and he had this lens with a kind of like a warmer thing on it, like a protective case. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And he goes, yeah, this is a new Canon lens, a 200 to 800mm. And I was shocked. I was like, wow. But my dream had it as being black for some reason instead of the white painted that we're being told about, like a big white. And so I woke up very disappointed. I was getting ready to pick up my laptop to look and going like, oh, that was a dream. But I woke up from the dream so pumped that I thought I actually had photos of this. So as soon as I have photos, as soon as I validate any more information on this lens, I'll let you know. I'm expecting more information coming out over the weekend and into the week. This has got to be the most, I'd say this has got to be the most anticipated lens from Canon ever, more anticipated than the 35mm f1.2. And I get a sense that as soon as this is announced and available for pre-order, boy, oh boy, is this thing going to sell very quickly to the point where I suspect that it's going to sell out and it's going to be tough to get this lens for many, many, many weeks or even months. So if you're interested in this, you probably want to pre-order right away. And then what happens is if you've watched the reviews and decide it's not for you, you can always release your pre-order and not take it. And that's the approach I would take. And you'll also notice that down below for much of this video, I've had smart pre-order links. We do know that this lens is going to be announced on November the 2nd, 2023. So that's next Thursday. We just don't know the time zone or the time. And as soon as I know that, again, I'll let you know in a separate video. So I get a sense from all the views on this that this lens, there's a huge amount of demand for this. People are very interested in this lens. Just look at all the comments from this video and previous videos that I put out. There's going to be huge demand. So if you're interested in pre-ordering this lens, go ahead and copy down this link for Adorama or B&H, put it in your browser, bookmark it, and then as soon as we get the announcement, you should be able to pre-order it before anybody else. It gets you further into the queue so you can get this lens a little bit sooner. Whenever we have lenses like this that are very popular, like the 135, Quite often you have to wait months and months and months if you delay, and you can always go ahead and pre-order it, then watch all the review videos, and then if you get second thoughts, you can cancel your order. And that's probably what I would do. Based on what I'm hearing right now, I'm definitely going to pre-order this lens. I love the 100 to 500 millimeter. It's a terrific lens. Stabilization's incredible, but I miss the reach of that 100 to 800 millimeter. And with a 2x extender, that gave me, or sorry, not, the lens I'm talking about is the RF 800 millimeter f11. And what I loved about that lens is you put the 2x extender on, that gave you 1600 millimeters. And yes, I know there is a little bit of loss of sharpness. Definitely, you're better off using the 1.4 millimeter, 1.4x extender. The loss of sharpness is a whole lot less reduced. But with a 200 to 800 millimeter, do you even need an extender? So super exciting. So those pre-order links are right there. I also have them in the description down below. And if you're looking at purchasing any other camera gear, lenses, bodies, or accessories, then please consider using my affiliate links down below to Amazon.com as well as B&H and Adorama, because it really does help support this channel. It helps fund this channel. You'd be surprised at how little I actually get from the YouTube revenue from the ads that are displayed. But the affiliate links, that's why I've been able to afford lenses like the 50 millimeter f1.2, the 100 to 500 millimeter, the Canon EOS R5, Manfrotto 50X tripods. The list goes on, and that's why I'm being able to fund the purchase of the Canon EOS R5 Mark II and the R1. It's because of you. It's because of you watching my channel and purchasing through my affiliate links. So for anybody who's purchased through my affiliate links, thanks. Thanks so much. I greatly appreciate it. Really has made a huge difference. But that's it for now. It's Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if we have other videos coming out Saturday or Sunday, because this lens is slowly leaking from multiple different sources. Information is trickling in day by day. It's not like somebody's giving me a whole list of the specifications for this lens and that I'm just cherry picking what goes out. They are coming out in this order. So I don't know if it's some sort of concerted leak to drum up interest in the lenses. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. It wouldn't be the first time a company's ever done that. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.